I'm Jasmine Ware.
And I'm Shane Saragosa.
Good morning, Faith Lutheran. I'm Shane Saragosa.
And I'm Ryan Schofield. Thank you for joining us this week.
And don't forget to stay tuned throughout the whole broadcast for a special code.
As the student population grows, the Faith Lutheran parking lot keeps getting worse.
Ava Balla went out and got the details on why the parking situation is so bad.
I'm Ava Balla with the FLNN, and I'm here in the Faith parking lot to find out why students don't have assigned parking spaces and if there is any hope for them in the future. Do you wish that seniors had assigned parking spaces?
Yeah, because sometimes I get to school late, and then I always have to park far. So if I had an assigned parking spot, I could just go there.
Absolutely, because even when I get to school early, I still have to park super far away, and then I'm late to class. So I would like it if I had an assigned parking space.
Is there a reason we don't have assigned parking spaces at Faith?
Yeah, one of the things we've talked about a lot is assigned parking spaces. There's a couple issues with it. Number one, people don't always obey the assigned parking spaces anyway, so they could park in your spot and then you'd really not have a place to park. And number two, our class sizes have been changing so much. So for example, for a long time, seniors wanted their own parking and we thought that was a good idea, but the number fluctuates so much, they'd have to be painting and repainting all these spots all the time.
If you could paint them, would you?
Absolutely. I think that'd be really fun, because then it would be very specific to you. It'd be like, this is my spot. Like, no one can park here except me all year.
But I think there is hope. On the new land over there, I think we're going to build parking relatively soon. I mean, maybe not like next year, but in the next couple of years, have parking over there. And we might make that senior parking. And really clear up a lot of the other lot on the other side. And so we get to see, as planning goes, how kind of that will work.
Now you have all you need to know about Faith Lutheran's parking lot and its future. For the FLNN, I'm Ava Balla. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Ava.
All around Las Vegas, there's a very diverse art scene wherever you go. You may see the wonderful workings of Las Vegas locals.
Wow, that's awesome. These people must be working really hard on what they love.
So let's jump right into literary arts with Jenna Wieners.
Obviously, here at Faith, we have a very diverse art scene. Through the conservatory programs and theatrical productions here at Faith, it's evident that our art scene is thriving. But what about the rest of the valley?
The Writer's Block is the only independently owned general interest bookstore in Southern Nevada. So we sell an assortment of new condition books, a lot of literary fiction, poetry, creative nonfiction, children's books, and so on. And we try to bring like a lot of sort of whimsy to how we merchandise and display the books. So we have this unusual artificial bird sanctuary theme running through the store, and try to bring in a lot of like unusual gift items that you won't find anywhere else. We also offer a host of free events, including book signings and book clubs, and free creative writing classes for children ages 5 through 18.
It's an incredible honor to be Poet Laureate because it means that I serve the community, I help spread poetry throughout the county, something that's really important to me and something that I think folks don't always know how much it can mean to them to kind of dive into poetry. Also, in our community in particular, I would say that it's really just a chance to help other folks navigate how art can help them in their own lives. So it's just a huge honor.
I think the Vegas art scene is unique in that it has like a freshness and a newness to it. The city is not that old, at least compared to a lot of these cities that have more like extensive and like distant art, like art historical pasts, whether that's literary art, which is what we're primarily interested in, or visual and fine art. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity here, which isn't to say that it's like a frontier, like there's a lot happening here already, but I think that in terms of like the literary arts, there's just a lot that can still be done here that you couldn't do in say like New York or LA. So it gives us an opportunity to be creative in the types of programming that we offer in our space and also allows us to like define our store here, the writer's block, in however way we would like to, you know. So yeah, I would say that the art scene here is primarily characterized by its like freshness.
How do you contribute to the growing art scene in your new position, and why do you think it's important to build up the community here in Vegas?
So some of my programming includes pups and poetry. So 4 times a year we get some poets together. We read poems while we are surrounded literally by dogs. And so it's really fun. So it's a really great way to bring people to poetry who might have not necessarily been at all interested. So that's one of the things I do. I lead a number of workshops around the community. So for example, I recently did a workshop at the Clark County Wetlands Park on haiku. So just kind of different poems and different types of poetry coming together and working on that. I am working on an anthology of Nevada poets who give back to their communities. And I'm also working to get some more poetry into the schools.
A lot has changed specifically for us at the Writer's Block in just the last 2 years. We partnered with Beverly Rogers, who is actually the namesake of the Beverly Rogers Carol C. Harder Black Mountain Institute at UNLV. So what's happened for us, and I think in the literary scene at large, is there's been a sort of consolidation in a good way. Like a lot of organizations that were perhaps functioning independently of each other have come together a bit more to coordinate their efforts. So the Writer's Block is now the anchor of this multi-use space that is also used by the Black Mountain Institute to house its writers who live here for, 6 months up to several years. And I think we're sharing our programming, sharing events that we host together. The Black Mountain Institute ended up acquiring The Believer magazine, which was like a hugely significant event for literary Las Vegas. It's a nationally syndicated, extremely well-known nonfiction literary periodical. So it's given a lot of credibility to the Vegas art scene and literary art scene. And they also now host an annual festival called The Believer Festival, which draws like truly top-notch talent. And the festival was featured this past year in the New York Times like arts section. So it's in the last 2 years or so, our store has expanded. There's really been like a tremendous rise in literary activity here.
Vegas is known for innovation and tourism. Though someday soon, Vegas may be considered an artistic center. I'm Jenna for the FLNN, signing off.
Thank you, Jenna.
Now that was pretty cool, but have you heard about the fact that the Faith Lutheran mock trial team is 3rd in the world?
I have not, but Danita Romani went out and interviewed the team on their accomplishments.
This October, the Faith Lutheran mock trial team competed in Empire, New York and New York City. They were up against some of the best teams in the world. Let's go see how they did.
The New York trip was great. So first we got there on Wednesday afternoon, and then we drove into the hotel. We scrimmaged because we had 2 faith teams that went to New York, so we scrimmaged with the other faith team that was going that night. And then we had a few more scrimmages Thursday and Friday. We had the opening ceremony, which is where all the teams get together. And then Saturday and Sunday we competed, and Monday was the awards ceremony, and then we flew back home that night.
I was a double attorney, and I had a close on the defense.
So I was a double attorney, which means I was an attorney on both the plaintiff and the defense. And so I did the closing argument on the plaintiff side, which is basically just a summary of everything that's happened over trial and why you should side with the plaintiff. And then on the defense, I just did a direct examination and a cross-examination, which is where you just ask witnesses from your side questions and then witnesses from the other side questions also.
I prepared by writing everything that I had, memorizing it, working with my team, just keep on practicing and scrimmaging.
We prepared pretty vigorously for our roles.
We practiced about 3 hours every day for 2 months.
The hardest part is definitely the stress and like the amount of sleep that you're getting is not enough to be competing. Like you go to bed at midnight, have to wake up at 7 to be ready to get to a courthouse, and you're not eating any good food. The food is not good at the courthouse. Like you're tired, you're stressed, you're hungry, and it's a lot on your body. And then you have to go in and you have to like remember tons of stuff, and so it's really hard just to do that.
It was tough. We kind of had a new team, not a lot of experience, but I thought we did amazing, and I thought we had a great team. So.
And ultimately, what did you place?
We got 3rd in the world.
Thank you, Danita, and congratulations to the Faith Lutheran mock trial team.
Have a good 3-day weekend, Faith Lutheran, and don't forget, next week is going to be spooky.
That's right. Halloween is next week. In spirit of that, the code word for this week is spooky.
So go and comment on the Twitter down below to win some candy. Speaking of candy, here's a sneak peek into Ryan's broadcast with Ryan Wishmeyer.
Hi, I'm Ryan Wishmeyer for the FLNN. We are here at Smith's right now to investigate the Halloween candy. Is it safe or not? Do you check your candy before you eat it?
Thank you, Ryan, and thanks for tuning in this week. I'm Shane Saragosa.
And I'm Ryan Schofield. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
God bless.